Kenya goes to the elections this year, and some new figures and old figures taking part. I believe as many as 46 people have put their name down as candidates in this presidential election. But this is a country where elections are hotly contested. And sadly, in previous years, we've seen sometimes that violence can be a part of the environment in the country. Are things different this year? Well, let's find out about how campaigning has been going and the direction that this year's elections have been taken. We're joined by human rights activist and executive director at Future of Kenya Foundation, Cyprian Nyamwamu. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me.
All right, so what would you say is the temperature at the moment of the current elections? We know that things got hot when the president and the vice president were busy deciding if he's going to support his vice president or not. That became clear, and there's been no love lost between President Kenyatta and William Ruto. But what has that done overall for setting the tone for this year's elections?
Thank you very much, Peter. We are seeing an election like none before, because the fallout between the President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Deputy President William Ruto has actually created a toxic environment. And this normally takes ethnic lines, and ethnic division is renting the air, the political air right now. And the temperatures and the stakes have really become very, very high. And this is going to be a very close election to call between the leading two contenders. And there is a lot of concern and worry that because of the toxic nature of these campaigns, that we may actually have problems in 95 days when we go to elections on August the 9th.
Remind us why the fallout. I mean, it's a big jump for someone like Uhuru Kenyatta to back someone who was his nemesis for so long.
There have been very many versions of why the fallout actually happened. As analysts, we can only talk about and basically, try to understand what caused this from the rhetoric that has been going down. There are two main explanations to the fallout. The first main fallout, the reason for the fallout was the handshake, the political handshake that President Uhuru entered into with his main rival in the 2017 general election, Raila Odinga. And that political handshake, which brought peace to the country, made the deputy president conclude that his boss, the president, was not going to support him. That is the biggest explanation. From the president's side, the explanation he gives is that his deputy has been sabotaging him, that he has been out of order, completely rogue, unruly, and disrespectful of the presidency as an office and President Uhuru as a person. Those are the two main explanations that have actually been advanced from both sides this far, and everybody, each side advances its explanation and it denies the other's explanation. But those are the two main reasons why the fallout has actually happened.
So Kenyan voters, when they go to the polls, are they bothered about the manifestos, about the issues, or is there still quite a pull when it comes to tribe and personality?
It's not possible that you can read 48 manifestos. You spoke about 46, but there are actually going to be 48 of them. because apart from the two leading contenders, there are 46 independent presidential candidates who have presented their papers and expressed will to run for the presidency. So it's not possible to read 48 manifestos to try and understand what they are talking about. This afternoon I was saying that a university degree, which is covered in 4 years, has only 48 units. But it takes 4 years. How are voters likely to read and understand what the manifestos are talking about? So it's not possible. It is coming down to which the historical trends, the ethnic interests, and the political interests of the big boys, as they are being called now in Kenya. Those are the main, and who has more money than the other one to stage big campaigns, do bigger posters and billboards, and basically fly and reach out to more voters directly than the other. The competition is going to come down massively to that.
Is it just a two-horse race then, or could there be an outsider that might surprise?
No, there is no likelihood of an outsider, because all the top 6 contenders basically folded their campaign and the ambitions to run for the presidency, and they chose to fall to one of the two sides. The people who are supporting William Ruto and the people who are supporting Raila Odinga are major political party leaders who have even run for the presidency before, but have decided not to run this year and support the two sides, one of the two sides. And what we are seeing is that the other independent candidates may only stage what we are calling a runoff, where none of the two front runners manages to garner and harness the 50% plus one that is constitutionally required for one to be declared a president. So that is a huge possibility now, because the 46 independent candidates may still, a few votes here and there, and in the end, they may take 3 or 4% of the vote.
So what do we know about William Ruto? I mean, Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, they both come from a long line of political stock. Some might even say political royalty. What does William Ruto bring to the equation?
William Ruto has actually transformed Kenya's politics fairly radically in the sense that 4 years ago, he introduced what he called the hustler versus dynasty divide. And he said that he's the leader of the hustlers, the children of the peasants and the workers, and the others are children of the royalty or the dynasties, the people who have it and have been in power. Their fathers have been presidents, have been ministers, have been vice presidents, and they are rich people. Regardless of the fact that William Ruto himself is a billionaire, he has actually managed to capture that imagination that he represents the children of peasants and workers. And that is what has made him a very strong contender in this particular election. And this is the first time even class conversations have been introduced to Kenya's campaigns. Previously, it was basically ethnicity and that's it. But this time around, it is ethnicity. But in, for example, President Uhuru's own ethnic community, William Ruto commands more than 70% of the voters there, according to the recent opinion poll. So he has introduced a dynamic to these elections that we have not seen before.
One of the things that we see here in South Africa is that young people, if they woke up on the day and actually went to the polls, they could, on their own, shift politics significantly, but for some reason they don't show up. What is the situation in Kenya, and are these political leaders going for the younger vote?
William Ruto has been very strategic that he wants to get the young people's vote. And for those who are registered, the larger percentage, nearly 60% of young people below the age of 35 years are actually going to vote for William Ruto. This is what further complicates. The demographics are in favor of William Ruto. He also has actually unleashed a very, very strong charm offensive in attracting women to his ticket. If you go to many, many counties, women are actually the leaders of the campaigns in those regions and counties. So those two sectors, those two main population groups, the youth and the women, William Ruto has come out very strongly with this alliance to go for that particular vote, especially of young people. And currently, nearly 60% of the youth are actually, running and campaigning for him. They're in support of him. But let me just add a small thing that the young people below the age of 20 did not come out to register as voters. It was expected that 6 million of them were actually ready to be registered as voters, but only 1.7 million registered as voters, which is about 28% against a 6 million potential young people who are supposed to be registered. So there's a concern there about fatigue, about disillusionment, and about disinterest from young people. They feel disconnected and not represented.
Are you worried that we could see violence on the horizon?
We are very concerned. In our latest election security mapping, we actually saw that out of Kenya's 47 counties, Kenya is divided into 47 counties, and our mapping shows that 29 of the 47 counties are actually hot spots for violence. It means that nearly 60% of the country is currently exhibiting factors and the potential for violence because of the kind of campaigns, the kind of a divide that there is between the two leading contenders and coalitions. So there's a huge concern. The government says that the police are prepared to stop any kind of violence if it was to erupt. But as we have come to know Kenya, the risk, the political risk of violence is always very high, and this election is not exceptional.
Cyprian, we're going to have to leave it there, but I look forward to more conversations with you as we get closer and closer to these elections. And let's hope that sanity does prevail and that people cast their votes for whoever they want without any violence that follows. But for today, thanks for your insights.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Peter.